Episodes 1 and 2 of Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man just debuted on Disney Plus. This video is going to have a lot of spoilers, but first and foremost, this has a major tie-in to the Spider-Man movies and the MCU. That looks super familiar. Let's talk about it. Welcome to the Legacy of Nerd. My name is Daniel, and like I said, episodes 1 and 2 of Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man just debuted on Disney Plus. It's got 100% on Rotten Tomatoes so far. It is good. I gotta say, really impressed with this series so far. But we're gonna talk about it. We're do a rundown, do the Easter eggs, and we're gonna do a review. So, episode 1, we actually start off with Peter going to his first day of high school at Midtown High. He's excited. They got a robotics lab. Aunt May's taking him to school, and we see Aunt May has a little Iron Man on her mirror there, and I just thought it was a real cute moment. One thing that they talk about here is that Uncle Ben had already passed away, so prior to him getting the Spider-Man powers, Uncle Ben is no longer around. So we learned a big thing there. So they get to the school, and immediately after they say their goodbyes, we get Doctor Strange coming in through a portal, and he's fighting some sort of alien demon. He is definitely preoccupied with it, but this alien demon looks very much like Venom or a Venom symbiote. He is attacking the school, absolutely wrecks Midtown High. Peter actually has a moment where he saves another student, and Doctor Strange rounds up the alien demon symbiote guy and goes off in the portal and says, "Thanks, kid." Funny thing here is that nobody has any idea who this guy is because he has not been introduced as a superhero yet. So everybody's like, who is that? So one thing to notice is that he does have the Infinity Stone, the Time Infinity Stone. He has the little medallion right there. I forget what it's called. Oh my god. But yes, he has that. The Eye of Agamotto. That's what it's called. He has that right there. So it's kind of a little interesting. Get a lot of tie into the movies that we're going to see. So one thing we did see in the portal was a little spider kind of coming out of that portal, and it finds its way onto Peter's neck and it bites him. He actually meets Nico. Nico is the person that he saved, but it bites him. He passes out, and then that's it. We get the intro credits. So and then it goes a couple of months later. He is now full on Spider-Man. He's devised his own suit, very reminiscent of the early suit that Tom Holland wore in Homecoming and Civil War. Now, one thing to notice about this show was that this show was intended to be a prequel series to Civil War, to the Tom Holland Spider-Man in the MCU. Along the line, they decided that they couldn't do a prequel series because they couldn't use any of the characters because they weren't going to be introduced until later in the MCU. So that really pigeonholed them. So they talked about just reimagining this series, not being tied to the movies. But this first episode plays a lot like it could be a prequel. So we meet some of the characters. We meet Lincoln. We meet Nico. Nico is actually going to be Peter's best friend here. Lincoln, you may recognize him, but we'll talk about that in a second. On his way to school, he meets Harry Osborn, and he saves him from a couple of hoodlums who are streaming their attack on Harry. But obviously, Spider-Man stops him, saves the day, and really embarrasses those guys because he does it on a live stream. He gets to school and he's talking to Nico, and we learn that his crush is actually Pearl Hagen. Pearl Hagen is a couple of years older, looks like three years older than he is. So she's 17, he's 14, I believe, at this time. And one thing that they mention is that she used to be his babysitter. So it was kind of a couple of jokes about that. Interesting thing about Pearl Hagen is that she ends up being another character in the future called Wave. So we're going to be kind of doing this. She's going to be called Wave. So that is going to be her character in the comics later on. I do not know if that is something that's going to happen in the future in the show, but it's pretty cool. And nonetheless, that they're introducing some more side characters. The Nico character is not really based on anything, and it looks like it's going to be an original character for the TV show. So another character we met before is Lincoln. Lincoln is over here on the corner on this image right here. He is actually a star football player. He gets teamed up with Parker on a school project, but Peter's thinking like, oh, he's a jock, but he's actually like really smart and he's really nice at that. And they get along really well. He's actually going to they're going to a new school altogether now because Midtown got destroyed. But he's going, I forget, it's like maybe Bayless or something like that. I forget what the name of the school is, but he is clearly not from the neighborhood that school is in. He is going there from a different neighborhood. His neighborhood's rough. They kind of make mentions of some sounds in the background and breaking things in the background. But when he gets home, he's really nice to his family. He's helping his brother with homework. He's being helpful to his mom. He just seems like an all around good guy. Now, if this guy looks familiar, the name Lincoln sounds familiar. It's because he is. You guys may know him as Tombstone in the comics, TV shows, everything. He's going to be a villain in our future. It's kind of sad. So, but yes, Peter is going on with his day, and he is being Spider-Man, trying to handle being Spider-Man and being Peter Parker. There's a cool little scene. So he's stopping a robbery or some sort of heist, and we see him, and he stops this car against the bus, and I immediately was like, that looks super familiar. And if you remember in Civil War, Tony came to Spider-Man and showed him little clips that he had found of him as Spider-Man, and we kind of see them on this thing. But one thing you can see right here is this same image of him stopping a car in front of the bus. Like, look at that. Just putting those two together. That is the on top the image from the show that we just had today. And then the second one is the one from the movie from Civil War. This I feel like this first episode did not change much from the original intention with a freshman year. And oh my gosh, man. So when I saw that, I was like, we are in the multiverse. This is a definitely what if situation, but we got to talk about what the difference is here. But before we get to that, there's this really nice scene where Spider-Man stops this mugger, I guess, or a robber. She robbed a pizza shop, saw a couple dollars and took off with it. Spider-Man stops her, but he ties her up and he tells the shop owner, he's like, hey, it's your call, but it looks like she's just having a really bad day. And we talked to the robber, and she kind of explains, like, I just lost my job, the money was right there, and then I didn't think, I just knew I needed something, and so she took the money. So Spider-Man actually convinced this shop owner to let her go, and they let her go. It was a really sweet moment, and it was really like kind of like, this is what Spider-Man is. He's not just a crime fighter, but he is trying to help people as well. But, as thanks for getting him back the money, the shop owner gives him a free pizza, which Peter's excited about. And on the way home, he finds a DVD player in perfect condition on the dumpster when he is changing into his regular clothes. Does that sound familiar? Does that sound like a scene that we've seen before? I don't know. Kind of sounds familiar to me. When somebody walked into an apartment and met an Aunt May. I don't know. Just saying. But so Peter gets home. He wants an apartment. And there's a person in their apartment, and it is Norman Osborn. Guys, this first episode is a what if Norman Osborn got there before Iron Man did, because Iron Man is in this universe. Remember, Iron Man, we saw that with the little plushie on the mirror, little toy on the mirror of Aunt May. So this universe, this whole universe is what if Osborn got to Spider-Man first. And that is where the first episode ends. This first episode, I have to say, I completely and utterly enjoyed. It was like, especially that ending and realizing that this was like such an MCU tie-in, and it definitely a what if moment. And this is not going to be a prequel series. This is definitely like somewhere in the multiverse, this happened instead of this. And a lot of the characters, I was thinking Lincoln, oh man, Lincoln, I am really like, he seems like such a great character. He's such a good guy to Peter and everybody else. And then to find out he's going to be becoming Tombstone, it's like, oh my gosh, that hurts. And a lot, even Pearl here, she's going to become Wave as well. And that's another villainous. So a lot of these people have these like places they can go. But then again, this is a multiverse. They can go different places. Especially this scene, I really enjoyed this scene. It was very much the spirit of Spider-Man, and I thought it was just lovely. Kind of like, oh man, like I get it. But yes, the episode 1, I really, really, really enjoyed. It was really, really good. Made me really excited about episode 2, which we can talk about now. So episode 2, Norman Osborn offers him an internship at Oscorp. Same thing, kind of Iron Man does, except Iron Man does the Avengers. Oscorp is actually an actual Oscorp. It is going to be a paid internship. He does notice that. And Peter is very, very excited about it. He gets there on time, and he meets his other co-workers. And his other co-workers are Aisha, I think her name is. She's from Wakanda. And she looks very familiar to Shuri in the first Black Panther. Just saying. But all we learn is she's from Wakanda, and her name is Aisha. The second person we learn is Jean. Jean Foucault, if I remember correctly. And you guys may recognize her or make her recognize the name because she is actually Finesse. She is Taskmaster's daughter. Now, Aisha is really nice. Jean, not so nice. And this guy, Walt, he is not nice at all. You may know him as Wizard. So he's going to become a villain in the future as well. And then we meet another person who I'm really surprised to see on this show. I did not read any like the castings or anything like that, but this guy is Amadeus Cho. You know him as Totally Awesome Hulk. He was also a version of the Iron Spider, but it seems to be his kind of like what is going to happen with this character because he eventually is going to Hulk out. Really surprised to see him there. We meet another character. We meet Doc Connors. I think her name is Doc Carla Connors. She is working in the lab of Oscorp. Her and Peter really get along. They seem to really be getting each other. She's learning that Peter's really smart. They basically get it. But you guys know Doc Connors, who is destined to be is the Lizard. So we're basically meeting all these people who are destined to be Spider-Man's enemies. And it's just kind of like, yeesh. But yeah, of course, he gets called out. He has an emergency. He has to fight this fire dude. I think his name is Butane. He's able to stop him. He's taking down this apartment building, and then he starts taking down a pet shop. Spider-Man saves a dog, and he's being called out to Norman Osborn's office. And obviously, the whole entire lab is just like, oh man, you're in trouble. This guy is particularly such a mean person to him. And Jean, Aisha are kind of like, oh, that's sad. Amadeus is kind of like, oh, rest in peace. He's just like, good riddance. And obviously Doc Connors thinks it's bad, but Spider-Man walks in, sees this picture of Norman Osborn with Captain America. Again, the Captain America suit looks very similar to the MCU. And then Norman Osborn confronts Peter because Peter changed into his Spider-Man suit inside the building, and he had footage, and Norman Osborn immediately asked him, are you Spider-Man? And that's where the episode ends on episode 2 on a cliffhanger. We'll have to wait till next week for episode 3 to what's going to happen. But oh my gosh, man, these first 2 episodes were a breath of fresh air for animation. It really, really reminds me of The Amazing Spider-Man, like the 1990s series, 1994. Like the tone of it, because it was it's kid friendly. I have to say it's kid friendly, but it's kind of dealing with some mature themes. Like, they were talking about racism, not talking about, but they're showing them a little bit about racism. They were, obviously like Butane was trying to kill people. They were talking about, Uncle Ben no longer being there. Even like the beginning with the attack on the school with Doctor Strange and the symbiote, like there was being real damage being done on this thing. So I was getting much more like, yes, this is going to be marketable towards kids, but this is going to also be very, very something like older MCU, Marvel fans, Spider-Man fans are going to love, because it's written really well so far, and I'm really enjoying it. But that is my review on episodes 1 and 2. I was not sure about this series. I honestly came in very, very skeptical. I came in very skeptical of this series on whether it was going to be good or not, but I really enjoyed it. Even the animation kind of reminds me of the 2000 Spider-Man MTV series a little bit, and the way it moved. But yeah, like I think there was callbacks. There's a lot of different Easter eggs that we probably didn't go over, but I enjoyed it so much. But yeah, guys, let me know in the comments what you guys think. Did you guys enjoy these first 2 episodes? Are you down for episode 3? Did you not like them? Was there something that you wish was different? What did you think about the MCU sort of what if multiverse that they are creating here? Let me know what you guys think, and we'll see y'all next time.